Hi heathens! So I'm gonna film like this whole process. Just sat down. Y'all haven't actually seen my haircut yet. The way the back of my head looks is none of my business. It is a little warm. So I'm going to... I grabbed into this thinking that it was one of my like little hair twisty bits. It is definitely not. But that being said, I don't know what the hell it is. But it was not what I was thinking it was. I want to grab just a little hairpin so I can pin my hair away from my face while I do this. And if you did not see the title, and just to reiterate, even if you did, this is going to be a Get Ready With Me movie review where I discuss Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. So I watched it last night, no. I watched it this weekend. Today's Tuesday. I watched it on, that's great, on Sunday night. I don't know, it was just stuck to my finger, but it scared the crap out of me. Anyway, so I have like a whole little notebook with some notes. I'm going to reference them if I feel like I need to. But I did want to give a trigger warning up front. There is racial language used in the movie, along with some, like, animal abuse. So just something to keep in mind. Obviously there is violence as well, but considering what the movie is, that one I felt like was a little more, I don't want to say obvious because that sounds mean, but was a little more straightforward, whereas the other two, you could have, you could not, you know what I mean, in a movie like that. So, be warned, there is some things to look out for on that aspect. And, okay, so the movie starts out, I'm going to play with some things I haven't played around with in a while. The movie starts out with Forrest Whitaker, who plays the main character. His name is Ghost Dog. And he is up on a roof with a bunch of pigeons. And so, of course, my first thought starting this movie, like seeing that scene, was, oh god, was he just called the Pigeon Man from Hey Arnold? That was my first thought, was like the Pigeon Man, or Birdman, or whatever he was. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. But that was what I first thought immediately. Plot twist, not even similar, so other than the fact that there are pigeons and a guy. So just to go ahead and get that question out of the way. But yeah, it starts with him up on the roof, and he is reading the book, The Way of the Samurai. And so each little section of the movie, which I didn't write down what the quotes were, but each section of the movie, it has him quoting a part in the book that kind of ties into whatever's happening in that scene of the movie, or like coming up. Alright, someone help me. Do y'all see where it is already bleeding into my crease? How do I avoid that? What do I do here? Because sometimes I just want to use eyeliner, you know? I don't want to use eyeliner, and the end of that, I don't think it was in camera's view. This end of it just fell right out. Cool. Guess I won't be using that end. Anyway, he's reading Way of the Samurai, and we're going to reference, because I don't want to get these early... Oh, I know, I'm all over the place. It was written and directed by Jim Jarmusch, and a fun fact, in the movie, young Ghost Dog is actually played by Forrest Whitaker's brother, Damon Whitaker. Okay, so, anyway, he's reading the book, and, one of the first scenes, he has, like, this little handheld, like, it almost looks like a walkie-talkie, but he uses it to start up a car, and it doesn't tell you, like, right out if it's his, or if he's hot wiring it, so I even put in my notes, like, to start/steal, question mark, a car. There's a nice juxtaposition at the beginning, because up on the roof he's reading Way of the Samurai, and he's even got, like, a samurai sword, and, when he gets in the car, you know, it's playing some, like, nice hip-hop music, so there's, like, this nice little juxtaposition between the kind of two personalities. But anyway, it has him driving, and you see a scene where there's this girl, at this point you don't know who she is, but there's this girl with short, dark hair reading a book, and she's in a house with an older man. The other, like, main characters in the movie are kind of like mafia type family, and he's one of them, and they're staying in, like, some hotel, motel place, and that's where Ghost Dog winds up going, and he pulls out a silenced pew-pew and sneaks in and unalives the guy. Then he kind of turns and realizes that the girl's there, and she was reading a book. Did I write down what the name of it is? No. It starts with an R, but she's reading a book that's also a Japanese book. It's like a book of different stories. If I'm able to, like, get a picture of it, I'll put it on screen so you know what it is. And, he picks up her book and, like, leaves. Doesn't, you know, do anything to her. Doesn't really say anything. Just takes her book and goes. So then, you switch to the family, like the mob family, and they start talking, and that's when you find out who the girl is. She is one of the head guys, I think his name is Mr. Vargos, his daughter. So now we know why this is a big deal. Apparently the guy that she was with was also a part of the family, so it starts this whole, like, issue of, alright, we need to find the guy who did this, because this guy was family, and, you know, we can't be having that. Well, while they're all sitting here talking, this is where some of the racial language first comes into play. Louis, who's, like, kind of the main guy that we follow in the family, is explaining to them that the hitman is like a ghost. There's no way to know who he is. Like, he's a professional. They're not going to be able to, like, just hunt him down like that. And so they're like, okay, well, you know, you need to tell us what you know, because clearly you know more than we do. So he tells them, like, his name is Ghost Dog, or, like, that's what he goes by. That's what everyone knows him by. And they had met because when Ghost Dog was younger, this is where Forrest Whitaker's younger brother's character comes into play, he had helped him out. And it kind of shows a flashback of Ghost Dog having the absolute crap beat out of him by these guys in the street. Louis pulls up and is like, hey, guys, what's going on? And, like, Ghost Dog is laying on the ground, just almost unconscious. And these guys have been, like, kicking the crap out of him, punching him, all that fun stuff. And they get unalived by Louis. So he saves Ghost Dog's life. So from that point forward, Ghost Dog considers him his master. You know, he owes his life to him. So in the way of the samurai, one must be loyal to their master. So now he has become this guy's, like, I guess, personal hitman, so to speak. I don't like the way that eyeshadow put down that eyeliner, because it just, or that, the way that brush put down that eyeshadow, because it's just not sitting like I would want it to, so I'm gonna try again with a different brush. So anyway, he's like, you know, and they're like, okay, well, you know, what's his name? He's like, I don't know. I know him by Ghost Dog. That's what everyone knows him by. They're like, okay, well, how do you get in touch with him? He's like, I don't really. He communicates with me by bird. And at this point, the other three guys are like, well, I'm sorry, what did you just say? Like, they communicate via carrier pigeon. Hence, the pigeons on the roof. And so he's trying to explain this to them. And so earlier in the day, after Ghost Dog had taken care of the guy and, like, left the girl, he had sent a note, something along the lines of just, like, mission accomplished. So Louis sends back a note, because obviously he knows this is going to be a problem, and he sends back a note that says something along the lines of, get with me as soon as you can, we have a big problem. And while all the men are sitting there, they ask Louis, okay, well, did this bird come to you today? And Louis is like, yeah, it did. And they're like, okay, well, what did the message say? And Louis is like, you know, it just said the normal, you know, mission accomplished, job done, blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay, well, did you send a message back? Well, at this point, Louis is not honest with them, because, you know, he's involved. And so he's like, no, I didn't say anything back. Because he doesn't want them to know that he kind of, like, warned Ghost Dog that stuff could be going sideways. And, so, anyway, fast forward. Reference my notes. Okay, so I think actually prior to this, yeah, there was a kid, like, throwing stuff out of the window. That's how you're introduced to some of the guys. Let's see. This, yeah, like I said, this is where part of the language comes in. Okay, so then it shows Ghost Dog sitting in a park. And he's got, like, his little briefcase, which is where he carries his pew-pew, like, down on the ground in front of him. He's, like, watching this group of guys that are playing a beat and making this, like, freestyle rap song. And he's just, like, watching them for a bit. And, you know, then he turns, and he's just, like, staring at this dog who's just watching him. He's just looking at the dog. A little girl comes over. You learn, I think just a little bit after that her name is Perline. She makes a comment to Ghost Dog and is like, is that your dog? He's like, no, I was thinking maybe it was yours. She's like, no, it ain't mine. And then she's like, hey, I know you. Like, my mama says that my mama says that you don't talk to nobody and you ain't got no friends. He's like, what? She's like, is it true? He's like, I'm talking to you, aren't I? She's like, okay, yeah. Well, she's carrying a little lunchbox. And he asks her, what's in the lunchbox? Like, is it her lunch? And she said, well, what's in your briefcase? He's like, I asked you first. Well, it's not her lunch. It's some books that she carries around with her. And they start talking about some of the books in there, because he's like, oh, I've read that, and I've read that. Well, he winds up giving her the Japanese book of stories that he had taken from the daughter that he had encountered earlier. And, you know, tells her to read it when she gets a chance. And then at some point, let him know what she thinks of it. She's like, okay. And then he introduces her, because he's like, I have friends. He's like, this guy is my best friend. Takes her over to an ice cream truck. Well, at first he's like, you want to come meet my best friend? He's over at the ice cream truck. And she's like, no, I'm not coming with you. I don't even know you. So he heads over there and starts talking to the guy. And she's like, alright, fine, I guess I'm going over there. Turns out his best friend, his name is Raymond, doesn't even speak English. He only speaks French. But they have, like, this connection. They know exactly what the other person is saying without knowing. You know what I mean? So it's really cute. They have, like, a little moment. Raymond gives Ghost Dog and Perline, like, a free ice cream cone. So then there is like a cutscene to this, I don't remember what he said he was, because they make comments about his ethnicity, but it's this tan-skinned guy with long, dark, black hair up on a roof with pigeons, and at first, you don't know if it's, like, Ghost Dog's area, but obviously it's not Ghost Dog that is the person. Two of the mafia guys show up on the roof, and they're, like, threatening him, and one of them goes to shoot him, misses absolutely miserably, and gets one of the birds. So, of course, this upsets the guy. He calls them names, the guys leave, and they're like, yeah, I don't think that was him, because, you know, Louis said that this guy is a larger black guy, and that guy was not. So they're like, alright, well, I guess we'll keep looking. So, obviously, there are a few different roofs, like in this city, that house pigeon people. I don't really know what they're called. Pigeon handlers? Like, if you know what the term is, let me know. But anyway, so they leave that guy alone. It switches to Ghost Dog being inside working on one of his pew-pews and an additional silencer. Then it flips back to the two family guys, and they're on a different roof with like an older black man, and they shoot him. And then one of them's like, wait, I don't think that was him. And the other guy, the one who actually took the shot, was like, well, he said, you know, anyone who looks like him, just go ahead and take the shot. So even if it wasn't, that's what we were supposed to do. So then the scene flips. You see Louis standing like against a wall, lighting up a cigarette or whatever. And as he is starting to do that, Ghost Dog kind of comes up and is holding a weapon to his head. And Louis is like, how'd I know you were going to find me here? And Ghost Dog's like, 'cause you told me to meet you. He's like, I did, didn't I? And one of the things that Ghost Dog keeps saying to Louis is that he's his retainer and does not mean him any disrespect. So that's what he's saying to him, like, while holding the weapon up to him. And they start talking about, like, kind of what was going on. And, you know, Louis' like, you didn't do anything to the girl, did you? And he's like, no. Like, I guess she left. And, Louis tells him, like, things are gonna get bad. The family is looking for him. And, you know, he can only do so much. And, one of the family guys pulls up, and he's, like, talking to Louis, and says, you know, I'm really sorry for what I'm about to do. And pulls a weapon of his own, ready for Louis to come around the corner, and he's going to off Louis. Well, Ghost Dog comes around the corner instead, since he already has his weapon drawn, and shoots this family member. Louis is like, oh, well, at this point, you might as well just go ahead and kill me, because there's no way I'm going to be able to explain this. Like, they're already upset with me, and now this guy, Marini. Now, Marini is dead. Like, how am I supposed to explain this? And so, Ghost Dog says that it's against the code of the samurai to kill Louis, but does shoot him in the shoulder. And he's like, now you can say that I attacked both of y'all. It'll explain that, and you have, you know, something to show for it. Goes back to Ghost Dog and Raymond kind of having a little conversation. Ghost Dog goes home, like his actual home, and it is absolute devastation. All the pigeons outside are dead. The inside of his little house up on the roof is absolutely destroyed. Like, I mean, things are thrown everywhere. There's books ripped apart. There's another dead pigeon on the bed. So, Ghost Dog pulls up some floorboards, gets a little key out, gets a thing out, and pulls out a different, like a different kit, so that he can get revenge. It shows a scene where the mafia guys are in their little, like, building. I don't want to call it a bar, because it's not really a bar, but they're all sitting around talking. The man who obviously owns the building shows up and makes a comment about how they're extremely late on rent, and that he needs at least the next 3 months, like, right now. And so they're all kind of exchanging looks, and the guy comes over to Louis and, you know, makes kind of another snide comment about, oh, well, you know, what do you have going on? And Louis wearing a sling because he got shot in the shoulder. And Louis like, what, you think I'm making this up? The guy's like, I don't know what to believe at this point, but you're definitely suspicious. So then, into that building facility, what I call the good pigeon, which is the one that's been transferring the messages back and forth, when they showed all of Ghost Dog's pigeons, I was like, oh no, like, I hope this one isn't part of this. He wasn't. He shows up and passes another message along, and one of the guys is like, get that thing out of here, like, just get the message and let it loose. So then you see Ghost Dog, who has just, like, gotten this kit, and he's driving down the street. And he pulls over to the side of the road. There's this man and this woman walking home, presumably from a bar or a party or whatever. They're dressed very nice, walking a little like they've been drinking. Ghost Dog makes them go into an alley, strips them both, and then changes into the guy's suit. He pulls up to some, presumably, like, rest stop, where you would, like, use the bathroom or pull over for a trip or whatever, and swaps his car plates, front and back, with the car plates of the other people that are at this rest stop. It's a little family. Then it shows him in the woods, kind of like around the mafia family's home, with a large sniper rifle, presumably what was in the new kit, watching the family, like, down the scope. And, like, right as it seems like he's about to take a shot, a little red bird comes and sits right on the end of the gun, like, right at the end of the barrel. And, you know, Ghost Dog, who has a lot of respect, obviously, for birds especially, kind of, like, pulls away and is looking at it, and it flies off. He realizes that he has kind of lost his moment. He's like, alright, plan B. So he goes back to the front. Apparently they're trying to sell this estate. So, since he's, you know, in the nice suit, he pulls up onto the property after using his little hacker thing to also get into the gate of the property, and poses as someone who is part of that real estate agency, saying that he's got some potential buyers lined up for the estate, and that Mr. Vargos had given him the code to get in. Obviously he didn't. And they're like, okay, well, let us go ask him, and we'll be right back. And Ghost Dog's like, alright, well, do you mind if I, like, stretch my legs? The guy's like, no, you are not getting out of your car. Like, you're gonna sit there and wait until we get the okay. And right as he kind of turns a bit, Ghost Dog, like, jumps out and starts shooting everyone that's outside. Gets into the building, takes care of all the people in that, like, foyer and, like, front room, walks into the room where, like, the three kind of boss guys are sitting. The right-hand man is what I called him. He's the oldest seeming one, and also the one who was using the most language in the earlier scene. Sees him and goes, it's him! And just has a heart attack and falls. So it's like, oh, well, that one was easy. He then takes care of the other two, turns, because girl from earlier is here again, sitting in a chair, because, again, she is part of their family, like, actually. And she recognizes him and is like, oh, it's you again. And he's around the corner. He catches Louis, and Louis's like, what do I do now? You know? And so, Ghost Dog shoots him in the exact same spot in the shoulder. So when Ghost Dog is leaving, he pulls over to the side of the road where there are two hunters with their truck, and they've got a bear on the ground. And he makes a comment about, like, oh, I didn't know it was bear season. And one of the hunters makes a comment about, because it's a black bear, he's like, well, you know, there's not many of them out there. So when you see one, you just got to take your shot. And Ghost Dog is like, you shoot them because there aren't that many? They make some racial comments. Ghost Dog takes care of both of them. Louis, Vinny, who is one of the guys that Ghost Dog did shoot, but at this point is not dead yet, and the daughter are in a vehicle trying to get away, trying to get Vinny to the hospital. Of course, Louis too, but it's the same spot. Like, Vinny is, like, bleeding out of the mouth, can barely speak. Well, since they're speeding, they get pulled over by a cop, and, you know, Louis is like, listen, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for you. I've got to get my friend to the hospital. He's really sick. She's like, yeah, you're not going anywhere yet. So she goes around the car to Vinny's window, and she asks him, she's like, you know, so what's going on? What's the story here? And Vinny shoots her. And Louis like, my guy, you just shot a woman. A lady. And the guy's like, no, I shot a cop. Like, they want to be treated equally. they're going to be treated equally. Let's go. Right as they go to pull off from this moment, Vinny dies. So it's like, okay, well, you got that little moment. Ghost Dog goes to see Raymond at the ice cream truck. He kind of knows, like, everything is over. He gives Raymond the suit that he had been wearing. That's after. Rewind. Ghost Dog leaves, goes to find Sonny Valero, which is like the main, I guess, head. Finds his house, gets in, through the window, kills the guy that's like, I guess, sitting guard at his house, because he was like sitting there watching TV. Ghost Dog cuts the cords, TV goes off, and as the man gets up to go look at the TV, he gets him through the window. He then breaks in, shoots Sonny. Oh, no. Back up, because this was really cool. I don't want to ruin that part. Okay, actually, he kills the guy through the window. That part's right. When he goes to kill Sonny, he goes up under the house, and Sonny's singing along to some rap song that they referenced earlier in the movie that Flava Flav is involved in. And he's like going to the bathroom, and he's in his robe and everything. Ghost Dog gets under the house, unscrews one of the water pipes under the bathroom, and is just standing there looking up. Well, he's cut the water off. So when Sonny goes to cut on the sink, and nothing comes out, he's like turning both handles. He's like, what the hell? So he goes to look down, and as he's looking down into the sink, he sees this red light, which is Ghost Dog's laser. He just right up through the water pipe. I thought that was so cool. Anyway, not cool, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So this is when he comes back, meets with Raymond, gives him the suit, gives him his kit, takes a little revolver out of Raymond's waistband, empties it into the briefcase, puts that all in his ice cream truck. Perline comes up at this moment. They talk a little bit about the book that he had given her. She gives it back, and he gives her his copy of Way of the Samurai. And while they're sitting there talking, or standing there talking, Louis calls to Ghost Dog, and Louis is just kind of standing in the street, and Ghost Dog knows. He's like, this is a standoff, because Louis is holding a gun. And Ghost Dog is like, okay, so I guess this is how it ends. This is the big hurrah, the big shebang. Louis, of course, doesn't know if Ghost Dog is going to retaliate, but like people watching, they know that he's not, because that's not the way of the samurai. So Louis winds up shooting him. First time in the shoulder, then towards the heart, and then again through the middle. At this point, Ghost Dog has also pulled out his gun, and Louis shoots again. Ghost Dog, has tossed his gun to the side and, starts to fall. Raymond and Perline rush over. Louis tells them to stop, just stay where you're at. And, Raymond, in French, nobody can understand him, but he starts screaming at Louis, and he's like, the gun isn't even loaded, this isn't fair, what are you doing? And, Ghost Dog tells Louis that it's okay. That he saw what he needed to see, and he's good. He forgives Louis, he understands, everything is fine. And he's like, but I do want you to do one favor for me. And Louis is like, what? And he hands Louis the book from the girl with all the different stories in it. And he's like, I want you to read this one day, and then come tell me what you think. And, of course, Louis knows he's about to die, so he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. He takes the book, and he goes and gets in what is clearly the getaway car. He gets in the back seat with Mrs. Vargas, the girl from earlier, and she looks over and she's like, huh, that's my book. He's like, no, I just took it from that guy. She's like, yeah, it's my book. It's good. You should read it sometime, though. And the last scene is you see Perline sitting on her kitchen floor. Her mother's trying to cook. She's telling her, like, get out of the way. Perline is, like, halfway through reading The Way of the Samurai, and it stops with her, like, quoting a part from the book. And it just kind of, like, wraps the whole thing up really well. I got chill bumps talking about the end of it. But yeah, so that is Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai. And I'm going to have a new rating system. I'm going to start rating things X out of 10 buns. Because I'm Sunny the Bunny. This movie gets 8.5 out of 10 buns. Yeah, pretty good. I think so anyway. So let's take a look. Probably already given myself a little makeup I did while I was talking. Makeup didn't take near as long as the story did. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. If you've seen this movie, I'd like you to also rate it out of 10 buns. Let me know down below if you go watch this movie. Come back and then tell me what you rate it out of 10 buns. Otherwise, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe to see more of my content, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.